And honestly, we might just see that. But I'm excited to see what Match37 has prepared today, right? You mentioned the unfortunate circumstances, but who knows? This is where they've performed best, right? This is how they beat Game1 Kia. It's when they had no pressure because there were zero expectations. Everybody was like, well, absolutely nobody in this entire world expects us to take down Game1 Kia tonight, but we were able to 2-0 them. So maybe they can come into tonight with kind of the same mindset and say, you know, T1, they're on the up and up. It's Chieftain against Faker. Let's see what we can actually do in this game. So I'm really curious to see how game number 1 is going to go. I hope it's not just an all-out stomp like we had yesterday. It was a very fast day, but we'll have to wait and see. We're going to hop onto the Rift here for game number 1.
So it's not going to be a huge game changer, but 6 is up for Umpty.
Oh, the last little bits of that Infernum nearly tickled Rel's back there, but not quite enough, as Hoya face checks here. Is going to ult into Zeus, and we'll see if he's got any damage. He does have flash, but with Umpty coming up to the top side, it looks like they want to convert. We got action everywhere. The miss on the play does come in, but they're just going to leave Delight to die. Not much they can do to save him. Nice dive.
And you can see just how scary it is right now. I mean, he's probably going to die here.
Yep, there it is. Just the follow-up, and Chieftain does not have a way to get out of this one. He throws his ultimate into LM, but not much he can do. And he was playing it well up until then. And now on the bottom side, Delight just going to get caught out here. Good follow-up from Keria, gets him in the box, lands that death sentence. And that's exactly what it was for Delight in the bottom side. So T1 making the most of this game so far. You can see trying to get in there, and an excellent seismic shove is going to deny that stun for quite a while. And LM, with his 2 buddies, will eventually be able to take out.
I mean, sure, it can be good in team fights if you hit big stuns. You know, Scatter of the Weeks can be game-changing in some of those choke points, especially when you have Rel stuns and Magnet Storms. So they don't have vision.
Yeah, nice bait here. We do have the Talia up on the top side, but again, Hoya pretty tanky. They're also committing a teleport here as the wave is pushed into the mid lane. And Talia is fantastic about disengaging. She just runs away from you and throws some rocks at you. And now down on the bottom side, again, looking to force a fight when you're this far behind is just not a good idea.
I wasn't looking because I was looking at total gold difference, which was extremely high. And the hook hits here, so you feel like, okay, maybe we can engage. They even flash commit in to get the Attract Repel, and the ultimate comes through from the Kaisa. But like, just because they don't have hook doesn't mean that you actually win this fight, especially because he could just play.
All the lanes did very well, the jungle as well.
I mean,
able to follow up very nicely.
Yeah, T1 they're not going to get the turret plates, but they are going to feed Gumusi a turret. Umpty is here, and they didn't know about it, but I don't know if this matters. Okay, the teleport is coming through. Let's see how T1 gets out of this one.
All right, well, Faker, he's the veteran, he's the big brother. He's going to sacrifice his life to get his teammates out of there, and he's not even going to die because we have action on the bottom side. And now is where the real pain will begin. We've got teleport coming in, and Zeus is about to bop some heads. Faker now, 3-man haymaker, just able to get on in there and break some faces. And, well, this is just a rout. Everybody's running away.
Where you going, Hoya?
Look at that wall. He can't even run to the right. Really, really nice here from Talia, from LM.
You are sub 4 normally to be able to set up those balls and shockwaves, and we just see how much of a big impact it makes on a game like this where things could just get out of control because you had to pick a Syndra and your comp doesn't work.
Yeah, it was kind of bad, but let's see what they can do. Umpty gets a bit caught. There's the chem tank, and welcome to Set's world. You know, we talked about how a lot of these tanks are enjoying the whoever's using it.
No side effects, just a long cooldown. Okay, one chance, one hope here for Match37. Hoya he is isolated.
Oh no. He's supposed to be the tanky one. He was the chosen one. Oh, this is just...
Can they stop the perfect game? Okay, there it is.
Oh no, they stopped the perfect game. They killed Zeus. It happened. And I almost feel like that was their goal. You know, they just went in there and they just bullied one guy. The relatively not tanky Jace, of course. They burst him down, and that means we don't have a perfect game. T1 will have everything on the map. Yeah, they just need a rumble to finish off that metaphor. And they're going to catch Syndra. Down goes Chieftain. Not much he could do. They're going to root down Hoya. And the push will continue with the Baron buff. He's kind of just going for a run. You know, during this Corona time, it's difficult to get your exercise, but Umti's finding a way to do it. As T1, they're just, they're not going to be 2BM, but they will fight if they want to engage here for Brion, and T1 will be looking for these kills, as Faker will hunt down Henna. Hoya will also be taken out. Umti gives the big thumbs up. And that's going to do it for this game, guys. 24 minutes of pure domination in favor of T1 as they absolutely clap.
Dominates, and this is a game where it's hard to pick a player of the game. I didn't even send my vote in yet. I've got to do that, but this game is hard to even really describe because it was just T1 making no mistakes, taking their advantages and pushing through, and Fred Brion playing without a mid laner. It's just, it's going to be a hard game. It's going to be no matter what.
He did the most damage on his team. He poked out the set a lot. That's kind of what happens in range versus melee matchups, but at least we can give him that. And, you know, they didn't even get a chance to get to a part in the game where their composition even really mattered, right?
Yeah.
They just got dunked on in every lane. The jungle lost.
Welcome back, everybody, for the Saturday LCK Analyst Desk. And today we are joined by Jung and Lee, Kuro, and Gorilla. Hello. And this is Season with the translation. Fred Brion takes on T1 in the week number 4 of the LCK. And we are having an intense competition between the middle of the pack teams. T1 took game number 1 up against Fred Brion, and they are one step closer joining the West bracket in the LCK. T1 was able to steamroll in game number 1. So what's your take on the draft, guys? Because we saw Chieftain playing for the mid role, and his decision was Syndra. We had a jungler playing on the mid lane. And to be honest, when junglers play on the lanes, they don't play well. But Chieftain was really doing a great job. So I'm really impressed. And also, he had a bit of an easy matchup going up against Seth, a melee champion. I thought Faker would just bully the lane on picks like Orianna, but this time around, actually Faker focused on the team play and he tried his best to get control during the Envision and also team fights. Because T1 had a strong matchup in the top and bottom lane, they won for Seth, a very consistent player coming in to finish their comp. And Zeus, on this Jace up against Sion, he was able to have a lot of lead thanks to the Talia scan coming up to the top lane. And that was actually the highlight of this game. So let's take a look at the highlights over here. Fred Brion needed a lot of power coming out from mid and jungle, but T1 at the same time, they were able to show the reason why they took Talia as the first pick. Seth actually freezes the wave and clears out that control ward, and he spotted Udyr rotating up to the top lane, so warning ping comes up. So Zeus actually steps back to a safer position. And he waits for his teammates to join this fight. Because of the lane priority from top and mid lane, Elim was able to pick up the scuttle, and then he invades to the enemy jungle camp in order to spot the Udyr in the jungle. So he sneaks into this rat camp, and he just waited until Umti showed where he was. He was camping in this jungle all day long, and also a fight breaks out around this rat camp, and Zeus, based on his lane control, was able to also rotate down to this jungle fight. And then Hoya just gets bullied by the damage output from this Jace, and then T1 easily wins this 2 versus 2 fight coming out in a very early phase of the game. And then at the same time, meanwhile, down on the bottom lane, another trade happens in favor of T1. The laners were in a very good spot on the side of T1, so Elim was able to actually easily find the enemy jungler and also kind of bully him. With his power coming out from Fed Talia after getting some kills, T1 was able to snowball down the game. So Frederick Brian was looking for some actions to happen, so camps in the top lane. However, unfortunately, Seth was the one that showed up on the top lane, and the wave keeps shoving in. So Frederick Brian looks for some action to happen. But you can see all of the T1 players are almost gathered up to the top side of the map already. So Hoya even invests his TP in order to join this fight. However, Rel didn't have her flash to make some miracle team fight to happen. And they looked very split in this fight. So T1 simply just won that fight based on their power level. And also, it was really impressive to see T1 actually grouping up for fights, because usually when a team is very ahead of the opponents, they usually go for 1-3-1 rotation, but T1 was really ready to counter the actions coming out from the opponents. They were not having their guards down. T1 had a very perfect setup from the beginning of the game until the very end. So let's take a look at the POG for Game 1. It's gonna be Kyria and Thresh. We actually barely had support POG prior to this week, number 4, but now they are starting to take the spotlight as well. Perfect KDA scoreline on this Thresh performance, and we saw that Kyria has already made 16 duo kills in lane, but he added more in this game. And he was really smart catching the timings when the opponents were looking for some actions down on the bottom lane, and he perfectly blocked those attempts. And I think a lot of bottom duo actually say that they don't have enough impact in game, but I don't think that's the meta actually. I think the bottom players are also able to exert a lot of dominance all around the map. I don't think so, because T1's top side was super ahead and strong. T1's bottom was also able to pop off like that. And Kyria was able to pick up 4 out of 9 in this POG vote. And Kyria had an interview with Faker in the previous POG interview, and he was able to celebrate his 600th game in the LCK. But today, with this victory, Faker picked up his 400th victory here in the LCK history. And T1 can leap up to the west side of the LCK with another game victory. So let's check out in game number 2.